What time is it in Australia, in the church, and in society? Firstly, I believe it's time to get out of goblin. Do you know what goblin mode is? It's the thing that we've all kind of learned how, like we live this way now with COVID. It's like, it's when you're in the middle of the night, you just drink the milk out of the jar in the fridge because you just can't be bothered to pour yourself a glass. It's when you stay in your PJs for a few days and you can't be bothered to make your bed. It's like when you just can't be bothered to show up to that event or to go there. It's the response to the overwhelming feeling we have of having to present our best selves all the time. It's goblin mode. It was the word of the year last year in the Oxford Dictionary. I just want to challenge us that it's a really critical time, and it's actually time for us to lean in and to step forward, not to enter into goblin mode. Secondly, it's time to engage our changing communities. We've seen huge shifts in the demographics of our cities. In the last 10 years, we've seen these Goldilocks zones, so the peripheral areas that are within sort of 1 to 2 hours of the CBDs, just absolutely grow. And we've got work from home trends. Obviously now 20% of Australians working from home. Prior to COVID, it was around 5%. That's remade our local communities, our shifts. We're growing to 30 million people by 2033. Our nation is increasing. We've got communities that we haven't yet engaged with that we need to lean in and engage with. These communities are also culturally diverse. We've got 28% of Australians now born overseas. In the church, that percentage is higher. And when we look at the migration growth that we've seen recently, it's like 3/4 of our population growth driven by migration. So many of those individuals end up settling into churches. I think it's something like 1/3 of Asian migrants, for example, are Christians, self-identify as Christians, and end up finding their way into the church. It's time to engage our culturally diverse communities. Point number 4, it's time to inspire hope in challenging times. We all know that our dollar is not going as far as it used to, but people are really feeling the pinch in terms of the economy that we're in at the moment. It's really a time to inspire hope when it is a challenging time. The economy is increasingly being powered by the spending growth of older Australians, and for the rest of us, if we have a house, home equity withdrawals. Like, it's absolutely true. I mean, the dollar's just not going as far, so we're just reaching into our debt pocket, aren't we? Number 5, it's time to model care for creation. Within the corporate space, everything's about ESG, environmental, social, and governance. There's a big focus on sustainability, the virtuous consumer. All of those things are rising. I believe as Christians, it's time to also align and model our care for creation. And even though that doesn't seem like it's as important at times, it is so critical. It's also time to model what true wellness is. I'm giving you so many popcorn things here. The wellness movement, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg of the wellness movement. And so much of the wellness movement is about me, myself, and my mind. It's about the interpersonal, it's about my thinking, and it's so introspective. And I believe that in the church, we have the assets, the tools, the resources to show what wellness is in the context of relationship and community and connection. It's time to amplify in-person social experiences. This aligns with the wellness movement. The National Health Service in the UK, same with Medicare, they're increasingly doing what we call green prescribing. For the mental health issues that we're seeing now, they're prescribing that we get out into nature and that we have social experiences with other people in order to feel better. And I believe in the church, again, we have the technology, the infrastructure, the systems, the know-how of actually how to create in-person social experiences for health and well-being. And lastly, it's time to instill purpose to the options generation. This generation, we absolutely do them a disservice when we, I don't know if many of you read these books, Choose Your Own Adventure stories back in the day. This is this generation, isn't it? They want to choose their own adventure. They have unlimited, endless options of what they do in their lives, and yet more than half of them say they self-identify as having a mental health issue. We do them no service when we give them lots of options, but don't point them to real purpose. And so I think at the end of the day, with all the conversations that we're going to be having, it is about showing the love of Jesus in the places where we still have social license to operate. And I know you'll talk about that, Felicity, in our schools, in our health services, aged care, social services, community services, all of the places where people still give us the social license to be Jesus' hands and feet.